All right, being 5:15, I'd like to call the first finance meeting to order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Attendance has been noted. For a motion to adopt the agenda, item number 5 was added.
So moved. Second.
Made by Mike, seconded by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Belinda,
Yes,
thank you.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the December 4th meeting minutes.
Move to approve the December 4th, 2024 minutes. Second.
Motion made by John, seconded by Rob. Excuse me, Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment? Move on to consider act upon claim request. Judy?
okay, so, when we have someone file a claim within our office, the process is it comes to me and then I have a discussion with whatever person within our office has the knowledge on. A lot of times we get potholes or we get, roads or things of that nature, so, you can see the denial claim says, "Hi, Robert." So Robert helped me through some of the questions that Civic, our insurance company, so these get sent over on their portal, and then they ask us questions about, you know, what happened and those kinds of things. So this is just part of the process of claim denial. Civic took a look at it, and if you read the letter, it says that that is their opinion, that there's no they recommend, I guess is what I want to say, that the claim be denied. So they are the agency of which, if now what happens is it comes to council, and assuming that the claim is denied there and move forward, then we send the person who gave us the claim a letter and let them know if, you know, it's been formally denied, and then they can take action after that, and then Civic would defend anything that would happen after that point. Any other questions on that, how that works? If not, I guess we would be looking for a motion.
Make a motion to deny the claim. Second.
Motion been made by Tim, seconded by Mike. Any other discussion?
I would look at it, you know, if they look at it. We should be following their opinion.
Right, so what would happen too is if we don't follow what our insurance company's intention of claim denial, then we would be on our own for whatever would happen beyond this point. So it would come out of the city dollars instead of out of the insurance company with the deductible, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I consider approval of a cell tower agreement with Ensite Tower Holdings. Chad?
All right, so we'll start with just a little bit of history because this has been a while. And some of the older persons may not be aware of this contract. So the city has land, obviously, Floral Hill Cemetery. And then in the back of the cemetery, I'm zooming in right now, you can see there is an existing cell tower in the south side next to the water tower. So the city has had a lease with the current company Ensite since 2006. It started as a 5-year term with 4 automatic renewals. So we started in 2006, 4 automatic renewals of 5 years. That puts us to 2026. The company reached out recently and stated that they're interested in renewing the lease. They're obviously starting early because if there's any hiccups, they want to make sure they get that figured out before they have to take down their tower. So, I mean, they start quite a bit a year in advance. So the new proposal, which you have in your agreement, the rent continues as the same path. Currently is $1,349.69 per month. It increases annually based on a CPI formula. The rent also includes an additional $200 per month for each sublessee that the company has. There are two sublessees on the tower. I know T-Mobile is one of them. I'm not sure who the first one is. That's before my time. It might be Verizon, it might be somebody else, but I know I just got a letter recently that T-Mobile's jumped on, so we get $200 for every sublessee that's on there. So the agreement that you have in front of you is pretty much the same thing. Attorney Stegbauer and I have gone through it. Everything, we went back and forth with a bunch of different items to kind of clean things up, negotiated, and what you have in front of you is what we're recommended. So again, this would be for another lease, five-year term, and I think there was actually 5 automatic renewal terms after. Yes, so the initial term would be for another 5 years, and then each term would automatically renewal 5 times. So this would be essentially a 25-year lease that goes through all the way. Any questions?
Is there any, say, insurance if say that tower falls down or something or does some damage to property over there? Is there an insurance policy on that?
If I recall, there's something in here. They indemnify us, you know, so they're, you know, if someone sues us because of that, then they got to cover because we're indemnified. Waivers, here's the insurance part of it. So looks like there's a not less than a $2 million policy.
Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds good.
Does the profits of this go into the general fund?
Correct. So I just looked it up, actually, we currently budget $20,500 under tower rental in our revenue accounts for this lease. And actually, that tower itself is covered under the local government property insurance fund. It's considered property in the open, and then has a deductible under that policy. But then, like Chad said, there's a rider in the lease itself, so that indemnifies us in case something happens to someone or something. But fortunately, it sits in a cemetery, and hopefully the chance of that is less than.
Do they pay a tax on that?
They do not.
I don't think so.
Nope, they're exempt.
Has there been any discussions with, like, we don't have any other towers in town, I'm guessing that's the only cell phone tower in town?
Not that we own. There's other cell phone towers, but not on municipal property.
I guess I just don't know if this is the going rate. Has there been any discussion with other interested, you know, other parties that have cell phone towers? Are we getting a good deal?
We continued it based on what was negotiated back in the time and based on a consumer price index increase on an annual basis.
I mean, you could barely get a 2-bedroom apartment for that a month. They got, you know, the cell phone companies make quite a bit of money off of it. Just didn't know if there was any negotiations that maybe get a little more out of them.
If you want, you can make a motion for me to go back and negotiate. I mean, that's the point of this. We got time. I mean, the current contract does not expire until 2026. So
Every time they add somebody, we get.
correct. So
That's what I
they
thought
add
you
what's
said.
called a sublessee on here. It's in here somewhere. Yep, down here. If anybody jumps onto their service tower, we collect another $200 per sublessee that they have on their tower. They call it a collector.
You wonder what they get, what Evan gets for that big one out there on grass.
No clue. I can most certainly do some research and ask them.
I'd like to see something like that. I would want to make a motion to, we got time, there's a year. If you want to maybe do a little bit more research and bring this back, and
Mhm.
talk to some other municipalities maybe even, or anybody that you guys know of to, you know, just see if we're if this is a fair rate.
I agree with Tim. Do we have to plow snow to that or anything, or keep anything open to it, or?
I know we plow the cemetery. Let's see if it actually goes back to that point. So we're taking care of, obviously, the cemetery paths. I'll have to talk to the guys to see if they actually plow up to it, up to the fence. They might be plowing that up to the fence right there, a little bit.
So I guess my motion would be to go back and do some more research on this and bring it back at a future meeting.
Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion Made by Tim, seconded by John to bring us back at a later date with more,
Comparisons?
yeah,
Mhm.
more comparisons.
Mhm.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, monthly financial reports, Judy?
All right, so what we're looking at tonight is a mouse that doesn't work.
Go underneath and see if that's on. Nope, there you go.
Hi,
Got to
it's not lighting up for me.
Nope,
Either
maybe the
way.
battery's dead. I'll have to run for you.
All right, thank you. All right, so if you go to the expenditures, we are in the month of November. So looking forward to next month, I will be going through all of the year-end stuff. So when we're taking a look at November, if you can go down to the next page, please, Chad.
Oh. It's
Is
working.
it working?
I put a battery in.
Well, thank you so much. Look at you go.
Hold on.
Wait.
Oh, this way. There you go.
So on the expenditure side, if you're looking at 11 months in percentages, 91.67 would be a good number. In round numbers, there's always reasons that some are higher or lower. You can see the insurance here, but like I always talk about, that's paid in full. Like when you see insurance, once we hit 2025, you're gonna see that almost expense right away in January and February. With the exception of unemployment insurance and workers' comp, which is quarterly, but otherwise the big chunk of this is paid out right away in January and February. But otherwise, we're running at about 94.2, but then you also see here at equipment replacement, we're at 335, but we put some of those dollars in designated funds. And we did anticipate, and I put that in the letter, we anticipated spending 859,000 with the use of those funds when we move them from one year to the next in the operation to the capital budget. So overall, if you look at everything besides capital, everything is running, even maintenance here, we still have $12,000, which is a positive at this time of the year. We'll see what December comes in at. But right now, I don't see any of our expenditure items going over at the end of December. So all is looking very good at this point. Does anyone have any questions on any of those? Ambulance, you can see, is paid in full. There will not be any more expenditure for the ambulance. All right, then I'll move on to the revenue side. Oh. I'm just having all kinds of issues, aren't I? Revenues, all right. So on the revenue side also, in November here, we're looking really good. A couple of items to point out. You can see the license and permit area here. $106,000 more than anticipated. So on the revenue side, even though it's a negative, it's a good thing. So we have collected $106,000 more. And if you want to look at the detail here to take a look at what exactly that is, you can see construction here is almost 50,000 more. Heating permits about 10, we have electrical permits about 10. So we had a lot of big permitting going on and a lot of construction going on in 2024 that brought in these additional dollars into our revenue side for construction. And then public charges for service, we anticipate that all to come in yet. And then here also in interest, we have $35,000. I would expect that to be closer to 40, 45 coming in by the end of the year. So again, next month I will be going through all of this information and putting it all together so we have an estimate of exactly what is in that operational budget that we may or may not decide to move over to our capital budget to take a look at those expenditures and see if we can get more of those things paid for. So again, on the revenue side, everything is looking really good. Does anybody have any questions on any of those? And then this is what we talked about too, when Chad is looking at hiring a second position back there in building, to help out with all of the many zoning and construction permitting and all of the things that go on within that office. All right,
When are you looking to hire that new person?
We budgeted for halfway through the year, so it was half of the money that we needed for the year, so probably start thinking about it in the next couple of months, but we wouldn't be looking at hiring until July-ish.
and then unassigned fund balance, I will be updating each of these categories again for next meeting. So next meeting, we will go through, will take us much more time to go through our financials than it normally does, because again, we'll be going through and making all the year-end adjustments to all of these. I will go through and talk to all the department heads, see which one of these designated funds have been spent out of our budget. And this is why a lot of those capital items go over, because we have this list of designated funds that we've set aside from previous years, like the dump truck and things of those nature, and that adds up real fast. That's 285,000 where we had a half and half year. So that's why it ran over this year, because we have a lot of those funds sitting right here. And nothing else really has changed within here. Expecting some dollars to flow in definitely into economic development for next year. So we'll talk about that. I think when I took a peek at it today, it had over $20,000 still in there. So we'll put that back into the economic development fund. But otherwise, that is where those sit. And then our wheel tax, most of this right now is being spent on House Alcon Road engineering. So by the end of the year, I anticipate this balance to still be in there, because this is what we had at the end of 23, 133,000. We'll add it more closer to 135. And again, I will have this information for the next meeting. And then whatever is real, this is actual expenditure in the engineering. But right now we still have $141,000. Other things anticipated within this wheel tax fund are listed here. Downtown projects, actually these two have already, the Wolf River development has taken place. And then here's the North Street, the grant through Wapaka County, there's the other half. Okay, and then we have our bonding, and this was for the downtown project. We are at a point where we have spent all of the bonding part of our TID 5 money for the downtown. We now will pull in our ARPA funding to pay for some of the other expenditures within there. And everything else pretty much has been paid except our library donation, which we're still holding on to, I would assume, until some point next year. And that will be expensed out. Does anyone have any questions on any of that? And like I said, going into next month, we will be going through 2024 in a lot more detail about, where everything is coming in at the end of the year. But again, at this point, I don't anticipate any expenditures to be over what we anticipated, and would expect revenues actually to be higher than we anticipated. So,
I don't know if this is the right place to say this, but could we have an update on the library? As she brought up the library donation or whatever. It's been quite a while since we've had an update on the library, so.
Sure. I can give you just 2 seconds right now. I've been helping Ann quite a bit with the grant project that they have going on. There was quite a bit of pre-documentation paperwork to fill out. Any grant like that, there's strings attached, red tape, stuff like that. So we did hire a grant administrator with MSA to help, which was a godsend because of all the paperwork that we've had to go through. That has gone through. We had to renegotiate the contract with Keller Structures just to make sure that that was in compliance with the grant. So that's been done. All that paperwork has been sent back to the state. The DOA, Department of Administration, is reviewing all that. And we anticipate that they are going to send the actual grant agreement. There's all this paperwork to get everything formalized. Then they're going to send us the grant agreement. I expect that probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And that's the official acceptance of the grant in the contract with the state, with the city. They plan on, we just had a meeting today. They plan on bidding out probably in the next month. Keller Structures is pretty close to having the bid packet done. They had to obviously change a bunch of stuff because of the grant requirements and put stuff in there. So I anticipate probably in the next month, those bid packets will go out, and then the bid opening probably in February. The construction must begin, I believe it's in June or July. That construction has to begin and must be completed by the end of 2026. So things are on track with that process. So is that good enough, or did you want something?
Yep, that's fine. I know originally they were talking about a winter construction, and obviously with the grant, it has pushed it back a little bit, and I understand that. I just hadn't heard anything since the grant was announced, and was wondering what.
No, I've been
progress
helping
was.
Ann quite a bit just with the grant. I mean, obviously, they haven't worked on the grant. We've been doing more grants here with community development block grant. Judy will be involved quite a bit just with the financials. Accounts that are separate to keep things separated. And we've
Single
got the
audit.
special single audit we're gonna have to do. There's a bunch of hoops that are gonna have to work on it, but things are in process, and yeah, I expect the bid to be out in the next month.
Thank you.
all right, then I am to my things going on in December. I just highlighted some of the things that are going on within our office. We definitely get ourselves ready for tax collection at this time of the year, and get those bills ready to go. All of that, actually, all of the information comes into our office. So I get all of the levies. I get Wapaka County, Outagamie County, Fox Valley Technical College, and the school district, and I put that information together for the tax bill. And then that information is sent over to each of the counties, and they print the tax bill. So a lot of times we'll get people call, when's the tax bill coming? And as soon as I get the final information, and that's usually dependent on the state, because the last thing that come into our office is usually the state tax credit for the school district. So once we get the state tax credit, and then what the lottery is gonna be, I can finalize those bills, and then they go off to the county. Once they get to the county, I can usually let a taxpayer know, you'll see your bill within next week. And then, or they will have them at least pushed out onto the website, and you can go into the website and take a look at them. When they're actually gonna hit your mailbox is dependent on, when the post office gets those to all the residents. So, I can usually let them know about by the end of the week, you should see that tax bill posted. So we do a lot of that internally here, and then they actually print them out. So we spend a lot of time at this time of the year just reacquainting ourselves with the tax bill process, making sure we have enough people here that, so that when we have busy times, that there's enough people in our office and working through that process. We did get a new tax collection. It wasn't new to us, but it was new to Wapaka County. They went with the same program as Outagamie County, which was T-Tex. So it's really nice to see we actually have the same program running in both counties, even though they run a little differently, which is very odd to me, but there's a few little nuances between the two of them. So I did work with Mark over at Wapaka County a couple times this year, him asking me, about reporting and things that I do with Outagamie County, just to help him through the process. So I sent a lot of information. This is what Outagamie County does. So spent a little time with him working through that program, and then users and all kinds of things like that. So it went very smooth. I thought it did anyway. So at the townships, I'm sure thought a little differently when they had to move from their manual tax collection to the computer system, but I thought it went very, very smooth. So we are in full force collecting taxes, as you know, and as we got closer to the end of December, things got real busy. One day, I don't think anyone in the office sat down on that Monday right before in the new year. I think everybody was all hands on, and it was a good day. Everything balanced out at the end of the day, but it was a busy day. We never know exactly when FedEx and the post office and everyone else is going to hit us. So we all kind of sit around and get, how many do you think we're going to get today? But it is a big part of what we do in our office at this time of the year. So so then I have, along with that, those taxes, I have a lot of information I have to get over to the state of Wisconsin to comply with their deadlines, including the levy limit worksheet, the statement of taxes, but not only has to be sent to the state of Wisconsin, has to be sent to both counties. So they're looking for that too. If I don't just send it to them, then they're like, where's the tax statement of taxes? So I got in the habit of once I send it to the state, then I send it off to them too. And then we have the ER-TID tax statements that are also due to the state. And so I prepare those and send them off also. And all of this is done online. So then what also happens in our office is we go into a new year. So there's a lot of year-end stuff that we're doing internally right now. So Stephanie is changing deductions. She's changing insurance. If we have any insurance changes, Wisconsin retirement changes, our HSA contributions change. So there's a lot of things payroll wise that have to happen also in our office that a lot of that we're getting through and working through to this day. Because a lot of our pay is still from last year and not this year. We did have a You'll Be Fit. I always talk about that, our wellness program, because a lot of employees, I think, appreciate that program that we have here at the city. So people participate in that. I completed the monthly financial information for here, and then I also continue to work on any information that is needed for me for that library grant. So I think we've gotten to the point, like Chad said, where we're kind of waiting on the state, all the information that's sent over to them. My last piece I had to fill out was the single audit information and where we sat with the single audit for 2024. But we shouldn't have to do one for 2024, it'll be 2025. So that entails a lot of information, accounting information coming out of our office to put together that single audit, and that'll happen in 2020. Early 2026. I think it has a later due date than my audit itself. So we have a little bit more time, but the single audit will be done in 2026. That's it. Any questions?
You have a question for you. Ginger Charitable, the policy stating that the employee families and for usage. Considering the more time we put into the job, we do also take consideration with including us in that policy, the elected officials.
Well, so I'm not even sure. I mean, I know we have a policy on that with the wellness committee. So what we would need to do is we'll go back and we'll talk to the wellness committee. I think our next meeting is coming up here in a couple weeks. And we could talk about, as a committee, whether we wanted to present that. I can't think off of my top of my head advantages or, positives and negatives, but we will talk about that as a committee. Because between now and then I'll think through this and have some opinion about what we think, how we think that should look. So we will get together as a committee, and if that decision is made or not made, I will bring that to the next, maybe not in February, but maybe March. And either we would have something for you guys to approve. To be honest with you, those policies come to finance and personnel for approval. So, and then I'm not exactly sure. I guess I'd have to maybe talk to Keith and how we would move forward with that if the governing body is the one that is the one gaining from the, so I guess I'd have to I'd want to talk to Keith about moving forward and what that would look like, so.
Mhm.
But it's not something that we wouldn't consider, so. If you're looking to, yeah, so you're looking to add like mayor and council to those people who can utilize the pool or recreation
Yes.
programs like the full-time employees, because I think it's just full-time employees at this point.
It's just full-time employees. Those are those employees who are health insurance eligible. And the whole point of it years ago was that to kind of promote our internal wellness program to have more healthy employees. And obviously healthy employees are, there's many benefits of higher work production, lower sickness, higher morale, blah, 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 the spectrum of things. So that was one thing that we brought forward at that point in time. So it'd be a matter of just, looking at that, adding the addition to the policy for others, But like Judy said, the consideration would be the benefit towards the elected officials, and does it have to wait a cycle? Do you not get that benefit until you're reelected next time? We gotta talk to the attorney about all that. but
Right.
Definitely will do that.
But we would bring the suggestion to the committee, and the committee would be the, who would make the decision about what we move forward with. And then again, yeah, we'd want to consult the attorney about what would that look like.
I got a question. All the hours that you guys are putting in for the library grant, are you billing the library for that?
No. Haven't even thought about it.
No questions?
No.
I look for a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Motion made, seconded.